Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the KISS Australia Crit Race. We got some racing out on the Volcano course. I believe it's going to be 8 laps. It said 8 laps on the event. Me and Wes are scratching our heads a little bit, but I believe that's what it's going to be on the day. We think the racers are going to have a hard time either way. It is absolutely flying from the get-go. The racers have jumped out on the course already from the pen, so I'm going to be joined by Mr. Wes Solzberger. Welcome to the program here. Wes, you got me instead of Jesper this week. Jesper's killing it over at Eurobike, it looks like, so you got to put up with the crazy, wild American here who never stops talking. How's it going?
Gonna put up with that guy, Nathan Guerra. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. I'm happy to have you join me as well. Always good to have a familiar voice, and that's how I first heard of commentary on Zwift. Actually, I come across one of your YouTube videos of you actually streaming it, and I released a video saying there's a guy actually commentating on the racing. And
that's
here we are already.
Stuff. That's got to be like back in the Vision days, I would think, when we were like. We were broadcasting under Vision Cycling. What was it? I can't remember, but it was like Vision Racing or something, or like Vision something way back in the day. That's absolutely awesome. That's really cool that you were watching even back then. Way cool. So where have things been at so far? Like, you guys have been racing week in and week out. It looks like the numbers just keep on going up and up and up. I actually was in a workout with Shane O from the Race WBR actually yesterday. He was hammering away in the Igniter workout. WBR yesterday hammering it. So he's got definitely some miles in the legs there. But how are things been going? Any new faces? A lot of the same faces showing up. How are things been turning out so far?
Yeah, so far we've had a bit more firepower, I guess, join. I mean, last time as well, we had, representatives, Australian champions, even Commonwealth Games representatives. So like it's been great, and I guess from that things just keep growing, and obviously having this E-Crit sort of as a main sort of thrasher race for everyone to come out and just thrash it out and really really use it as a great workout as well as a racing tool, obviously, and then with the community sort of event after on the Thursday, which has been quite popular as well, which is the chop. So now it's got a good variety, and from Ollie Jones has jumped in a few times as well, taking part in both races. So it's the Zwift Academy winner of 2018. So he's living in Lucca in Italy at the moment, and getting to live his dream really. From riding in his garage to riding across in Europe with a Dimension Data team at the start of the year. It's a pretty cool experience for him, and it's good to see that he's enjoying it.
Yeah, so Ollie was actually jumping into a few races then, is that right? You're saying?
Yeah, so Ollie's been taking part in some of the E-Crit races and as well as the chop. So
nice.
Also had Pat Shaw wrangle up a few of his ex-teammates as well. So we've had Anthony Giacoppo jump in and do a couple of the E-Crit races as well now. So Anthony Giacoppo is a former Australian national criterium champion, a super strong sprinter, and has won a lot of events around the world as well. In Asia, he's won a few races in Tour of Japan. I think he's won about at least four stages or so of Tour of Japan. And he's quite a strong, fast sprinter. And he's sort of working it out on the fly of how these power-ups work and how this all sort of goes, Nathan. So
there is a different world to Zwift racing, though, isn't there? Like, once you get it, though, it is a lot like real-life racing. It's just the timing of the efforts, though, and some of the nuances of the draft and things. And you kind of got to learn, like, it's a little bit different the way you attack the field and how you get away from the field or how you sprint against the field. So it does change up a little bit. Now, we did just jump on Facebook Live, actually. It was about 3 or 4 minutes late. Apologies on that, you guys. We had a little hiccup there getting it out to you guys. But this is obviously KISS Australia Crit Race. Welcome to the program, everybody that's watching over on Facebook as well. Wendy Superfans in the house says hi, Wes and Nathan and all. If you do want to interact with the program, you can do so like Wendy did right right there, just go ahead and comment on the Facebook post. We want to hear your predictions as we get closer to the end. We want to hear about your Tour de France predictions. We want to hear about, I mean, there's so much going on right now. We want to hear about if you know the riders who are here, who your favorite riders are. We want to hear about all, you know, whether or not you want me to be quiet and Wes to talk more, or no, I'm just kidding. Like, we want to hear about all of it. So let's get that going. What's going on there, James Saunders, as well? Also, we are watching over on Mixer. We are watching on Twitter and a little bit of the Twitch chat. I'll try and keep that up as well. If you do want to @Z Community Live on Twitter, we can also pull those in. So we can pull in your questions and comments from Twitter as well as Facebook, and I am keeping an eye on Mixer. So it looks like one lap in, and the B's and the A's are pretty much all together here, Wes, but the riders are definitely starting to string things out as they head there into their first lap, I believe, of 8. We'll take a look here real quick. As they do go through, there will be a little number sign on the right-hand side of the course. But already the attacks are starting here. At the front, we got S. Wu with the big Z next to his name. It is going to be 8 laps. Mike Davis is in the house. What is he doing awake? It is like a 2 a.m. race for Mr. Davis here out of California, riding for Team Experimentalist. Let's see somewhere else in the world right now. But already going off the front, we've got Conway here trying to make the chase. Shane. Oh, and then Ollie. Oh, Ollie's actually in the race here. Ollie's showing up on the day.
And he's off the front here with Zach Johnson. So Zach is a Wolfpack Taz crew member from Launceston, under-19 cyclist, and has really actually been very active, especially on these circuits, on the Volcano circuits. He's been off the front a lot with Cameron Roberts. I just saw the name pop back there. Cameron Roberts is in the bunch tonight, so no doubt we'll see Cameron also throw out some firepower too. But these two out the front here are looking at a pretty solid tempo here, 350 watts there, and the heart rate's creeping up to 170, probably going to be well over the 170 if they can sustain this, Nathan.
Yeah, we are seeing solid 5.5 to 6.0 on the front, and if you really want to make the brakes stick, that's what you have to see. You have to see over threshold into that VO2 max on the front. The guy sitting in goes the threshold or just a little bit under, is able to get a little bit of a reprieve, but to stay away from a pack like this at 5.9 watts in front, on the front, and that they can continually surge. And anybody who falls off the back a little bit is concerned that they will at the back of the pack will be able to bring all their speed to the front. All these riders who are building up speed in that pack are then taking that to the front when they do come around. You are seeing Bromley here as well, making his way to the front. Macron, they're taking any speed that they have and giving it to all the riders behind it. And like they say, a lot of the Zwifters say it's like a blob that ends up consuming anybody who tries to get away. So this attack is real. It's a serious one. They know that these guys are a threat, and it's gone out to 8 seconds. And if these boys that are chasing do not have the motivation to bring this back, this might be gone and not seen again. Ali here, now, for those of you who do not know, was the winner last year of the Zwift Academy, Men's Zwift Academy, got a pro contract, actually, to ride for the Continental team for Team Dimension Data. So that's why you see the little verified badge next to his name. And Ali Jones here, Zwift Academy winner, killing it on the front with Zach Johnson. Has Ali been able to pull off the W's here, or has it been hotly contested anytime he's shown up so far? Do you remember?
It's been pretty hotly contested. He's finished up there, and I think he has actually taken out one of the races. Yeah, in this, but we have had some very hot competition, and there's a few other. Actually, one of the times when Ollie was in there was a couple other Americans as well that featured in that event. So it was most of the ones that Ollie's done has been on the Ride London circuit. So this circuit here is perfect for Ollie for his sort of power punching sort of style of racing. And obviously Zach has decided that's perfect for him as well. So Zach is more of a, I guess you'd say more of a climber. He's quite a light frame, but obviously can put out some power too off the front here with Ollie at the moment, pulling a pretty solid turn.
Yeah, 6.6 watts per kilogram on the front. They definitely are making it happen here. 13 seconds, and it looks like the pack is actually calm down a little bit. Now I have a feeling that there are going to be a few riders that are sitting in waiting for the uphill grind here and are going to kick into that 10, 15 watts per kilogram real quickly. You know, if they can throw down even 8 to 10, because these riders off the front, they're only going to have 6 to 7, maybe 8 watts per kilogram consistently, and then over the top after putting out this kind of an effort and being at this kind of a heart rate for this long. Well, even here though, they are looking fairly calm here. 161. These are some serious riders here, and if they can hold on and kick over the top, they might be able to hold on to this gap. But 10 seconds with a charging pack and a little bit of an uphill, I have a feeling there are going to be some people that are going to be very motivated to bridge on this gap right now and try and get into a breakaway with these two riders. If they do, that'll be the one that sticks. If the whole pack comes with them, though, it's going to calm down immediately, and everybody's gonna be looking at each other looking for that counter attack. Now Jones does have about 9 watts per kilogram. Johnson's got 11 as well. H smash coming out of Australia. They're smashing the pedals here. 9 watts per kilogram.
We have seen Smash join in the Volcano circuit before, and he did feature a lot. So Smash is smashing it out there. Also, Cameron Roberts would be my pick to try and probably go across this gap as these other riders sort of start to bridge the peloton back up. B. Johnson as well. So I think it's Brendan Johnson from Giant Australia also up there. And that is Van as well. Van, thank you, man, was also up there a couple of weeks ago, and I think took out one of the Volcano circuits, actually. Yeah, so he's putting himself up for a W.
Yeah, we are seeing Van there giving a little kick coming out of China, it looks like there, with +1S in the name. Is that a team? I've seen that before. I'm wondering if that's actually a team coming out of China, but 11.9 watts per kilogram with an aero power up. He is definitely going for the bridge at this point and trying not to bring anybody with him at 10 watts per kilogram. That's a very smart move. B. Johnson here for Giant Australia here, 6.4, but that's a consistent effort, not a jump. I'm not sure he's going to get across with that kind of an effort here. So 3 off the front now with W. Van. Now another aero power up. That might close it all down though with that aero power up. Now that is an interesting aero power up because McCrand here is probably not going to have, you know, well, we know he's not going to have another one for the entirety of this rep, but that is a little risky. He's saying, look, I got 7 more times or 6 more times to grab another one. I'm going to take the risk and throw this down to bring this attack back. And immediately it closed down to about 6 seconds. But these boys are not giving up. This is an all-in effort here, Wes.
Yeah, it is, and with Van's across that gap now, and straight away he's on the wheel there of Johnson, and looks like Ollie's in 3rd place there. So, and we keep getting some of those surges from Zach as well here. He keeps just sort of lifting the pace. Obviously knows the peloton is in sight now behind him, as we can see there, Nathan. So these riders are wanting this to stay away early.
Jones! Is that a blow-up, or is that a dropout? I mean, he maybe just wanted to go back. I'm not sure.
It did look like maybe a mechanical there. It did look like the chain maybe just come off for a little second there or something. But Ollie looks like he's back in there now. So this is not great for Zach staying out there now, only with back with 2 riders instead of that 3-rider scenario.
Yeah, I think it's all said and done, at least for the moment. But this might cause some impetus for a few other riders to say, look, these guys are suffering at this point. The pack has been working so incredibly hard. Anybody who's sitting in has probably been at least up into their threshold and might have too many kicks or not a whole lot of motivation to go with it. And they might be able to sneak off the front right now. This is one of those moments where you could find a little bit of breathing room that you work with slowly to walk away. But it looks like they have shut it down. We'll see if there's a counterattack. Johnson still almost out of frustration just stomping the pedals like, what happened to my attack? And here comes the arrows and the feathers, and it's all said and done at this point, it looks like. Cameron Roberts there, probably pretty happy with not having to do a whole lot of work on the front of the group, actually. Being a really strong rider we've seen walk away here and there with some TTs off the front and is now back in it here. All back together. It's another calm before a storm, I think.
Also there, we got the chat on the Facebook saying that he wasn't going to chase Ollie because they're actually teammates in Team Vision. So that's why there was no chase there. So now we see Cameron Roberts go on the attack. So Cameron's got the free ride there with Van and letting the others chase that break down. Now Cameron Roberts is taking his opportunity here now, and it looks like Zach has gone with him as well again here. So Zach is very persistent in making sure he stays at the front of the bunch here. I think he must think it's going to rain soon. He doesn't want to get any mud on his face.
Johnson absolutely on the front, just going like a maniac. Roberts goes right along with him and sees that this guy is motivated, a wheel that he wants to grab. But this is a hard part of the course to get away on. I've seen attacks on this section time and time again that fail because the speeds are so incredibly high from the pack going down that 2-tier. They carry so much speed with them from the back of the pack. Just like in real life, you're at the back of a group and you come down the hill and you take all that draft and all that speed that you build up, and you feel like you have to brake just to get just to not go past the group. And so in Zwift, there's no brakes. You just go past the group. And so I think that section tends to carry a ton of speed for the larger groups here. So, but they do have a little bit of a break here. Now Johnson goes again 13 watts per kilogram, and it looks like Roberts not quite able to hold the wheel immediately. There is an immediate gap, but it looks like Roberts not too keen on holding on to the feather power up, and I wouldn't want to either, knowing that there may be a chance an arrow power up. Throws that down on the steepest part of the course. Immediately the group comes back to them. Johnson still at 7.4 watts per kilogram, but unable to stay away. It looks, well, you know, I wonder how long he can hold this for. I'm going to take a look here real quick. Z Johnson. Now, what's really nice is that ZwiftPower.com is back. And we can actually go take a look at past results, what's going on over at ZwiftPower.com. Cameron Roberts, actually, I didn't know he had the big Z next to his name, so he has been Zada approved. That's pretty awesome to see. But looking through here, what has been some past results maybe for some of these riders here? I'm looking for Zach Johnson. You know, I'm not sure that Zach Johnson has opted in to ZwiftPower.com. So, and if you guys have not opted in to ZwiftPower.com and you're out there racing and you're looking for results after the race, not just from the screenshots, make sure to head on over to your my.zwift.com, my.zwift.com, and you that is the place where you can actually find the connections to Training Peaks, Strava, all those other places. But at the bottom of those connections, you will be able to find the opt-in for CVR, ZwiftPower.com, as well as Zwift GPS, which are all third parties that have direct access to the API, so that they can do awesome things like what ZwiftPower.com does with the results. So I have a feeling that a few riders after this will be going back to the results and be like, oh man, I wish I would have opted in. But I think it does backlog opt-ins. I'm not positive about that. Maybe it does not, but I'm pretty sure that it might.
I did see Glenn Knight join the stream, so Glenn might be able to comment and update us on that. So Glenn Knight is in charge of the Zwift Power website. So thanks for joining into the stream, and we're broadcasting the KISS Australian Crit Race right now. Nathan, how do you think these riders will change in character once the series officially starts? Do you think obviously some team tactics are going to come into play? Do you think people are going to be a little bit less aggressive? Like is Zach going to maybe start to think a little bit more of a team play rather than an aggressive play?
Yeah, I think, well, he's representing WP Taz out there, and WP Taz won the final last year, and I think they're going to be looking for a repeat, and I think you're going to see a lot more WP Taz showing up, Vision showing up. I think all of a sudden you're going to start noticing the team presences are going to start, and people are going to be looking for teams too. And then at that point, that's when things get a lot more tactical. That's when everybody starts joining Discord channels and talking to each other in a live environment to say who's going to go when, who's going to go here. And that's where I think things are definitely going to, I don't know about necessarily, I think that it's going to be calmed down, and then the attacks are going to be much more, not just like hodgepodge, you know what I mean? They're just going to be thrown out whenever. They're going to be thrown out, and they're going to be thrown out very seriously, and it's going to feel like this a little bit more methodical, but they're going to be just as strong or even stronger because of it. And once they commit to those, you're going to feel like it's a huge commitment. So definitely I think it's going to calm down, but I think the racing isn't going to feel any slower, because I think the teams are going to show up in force and start throwing attacks down like crazy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's usually what happens.
It's going to be fireworks either way, isn't it, really, when it comes down to it? But Tim Searle has just gave us the comments on Facebook saying that you can opt in after and then refresh the results.
Oh, great.
So
thanks a lot, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thanks for that one. So, yeah, we're updated on that one. So, Oh, it looked like there was almost a bit of a bingle around that corner there. There was some hooks thrown, but Johnson up the front here again. Still, these riders, they're still like, even though they're cruising along here, they're still sitting at like over 200 odd watts, and then peaks of 400 here, as we can see. We're following Yako at the moment. So back on S Johnson here. So they're still cruising along here. There's not too much of pace on right now, but I'm sure that there'll be fireworks again as soon as we go uphill incline. I reckon we'll see another attack again.
We are seeing a comment there coming from Ben Govid as well. Opt. Less than 20% opting in on Monday's chop. It helps everyone's racing. So that's actually, it's super, super helpful to the racing if two people do opt in. And Ben says he made an opt-in video as well. So quick little GIF or video is always super helpful with those things. Tweet those out. We'll try and get some retweets on them as well. And looking through to the front, though, let's see. I mean, man, I can't believe how much ground they cover already. They are absolutely flying today. I mean, they just feel like it's nonstop attacks.
It's Van going again now here. So again on the uphill, that seems to be the spot to go. Obviously, you were saying earlier, Nathan, there's a few spots around the course. The bunch will just roll onto the back of you. So if you do have the power in the legs and maybe even the power up that probably doesn't suit you, that you want to get rid of, then uphill is probably the place to go.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that climb there is definitely the key spot. It does roll out a little bit here for a moment, and then there's a second kick. And usually that climb is where people waste their legs and don't wait for that second kick. It is the second kick usually right here that does end up... Oh, Van with the dropout here, actually. And he's a contender. I think that's a full-on dropout. We're seeing 1,100 watts there for a moment. I think he has given everything he's got to try and get back in here. S. Honda coming up there, but he's not going to be any help as a lapped rider. 10 seconds immediately lost from that dropout. That is too bad. And even in virtual racing, you do get mechanicals here. Now at the front, they are seeing, it looks like, not Nathan Guerra, but GPM Souls here. We're seeing Roberts now, 4.1 watts per kilogram, with Davis there, 6.0 coming through, and Team Experimental seeing an advantage here, knowing that one of the contenders is off the back, is going to give it a little bit of a kick. I'm getting some questions here from the Mixer channel. Good to see we got some solid viewership over there for all 226 of you. If you've never seen what Zwift is before, this is a massive multiplayer online game in which people are actually riding real bikes right now in order to power these avatars. In the upper left-hand corner, 350 watts. That's actual measurement of power. Just like you would say 50 pounds or 50 kilograms of being lifted by legs. That is a verifiable, accurate, objective measurement of power that these riders are putting into their bikes right now to move those avatars forward. The avatars are all have a weight on them and are being moved forward by that wattage right now. On the right hand side, you see watts per kilogram, which is one of the metrics that's used to see what kind of speed these avatars should be moving. You also see the heart rate, the cadence, and also the country flags on the right hand side, that you can see where these riders actually are at in the world right now, competing against each other in this MMO training tool. It's pretty awesome and amazing. So for all the gamer world out there that's on Twitch and Mixer that is viewing right now, that is the short story on all of that. So we're looking here, standing here, Johnson again, 6'6". This guy just doesn't give up.
Nope. So it's the Tasmanian grit. So I think he's obviously inspired by Richie Porte, probably going to win the Tour de France this year, and he's going out on the attack, much like Richie will be, I reckon, later in the stages, mountain stages of the Tour de France. So great to see Zach inspired and getting out there for WP Tas as well. The Zwift community in Tasmania is growing, and we seem to have a good number of people racing the chop on a Thursday night from WP Tas.
Yeah, that does look like a great, and actually, as far as the racing goes, you know, this is kind of like the super high-end race to show up to, and it is they're all categories. You can see that the C, the B, and the D categories are here. We do focus in a lot on the A racing here, as that is where the series will end up selecting the finalists for the Kiss Crit final. But the chop racing is another kind of race where the A's chase the B's, and the C's and the D's. The D's go out first, as a handicapped race or a chop race, and then the C's chase them, the B's chase them, and the A's chase them. They're all staggered by a certain amount of time that gives it a challenge for each one of the categories to chase each other. And so it's a really cool categorized race that's going on Thursdays, starting a little bit earlier than this one. Is that correct? I think it starts around 3 a.m.
Well, I'm not sure what time for America,
it's 4:10.
but
It's 4:10, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's 7:10.
Yeah, 7:10 your guys is 10 p.m.
Yep.
and excuse me,
Yep.
4:10 a.m. my time.
Yep.
I'm looking up
Yep.
it on the websites ever. So, and
So
we are getting some
by my
questions here.
time-
This is a great question, actually, coming from Escalade saying, ever get any famous bikers? We actually have some famous ones in this race right now. A couple weeks ago, you were chatting a little bit, though, about guys who were training with Richie Port. We've got, obviously, professional rider Ollie Jones in the race here today. Any other shout-outs out there, maybe, that we could find? But also maybe a little bit of chat about some of the pros that have been showing up to these races.
Yeah, we definitely, last week we had Josh Wilson in there as well. I mean, Zach also knows Richie and has trained with him when he's back in Tasmania as well. So we're seeing some more attacks going here at the front now. Is it American? Is that from Team Energy?
That's Team NODZ. So Team EN, I think maybe the real life team, and then ODZ most likely the in-game team. But we are seeing B Johnson, Giant Australia. Now, riding for Giant Australia, is that a pro team or is that a Cat 1 team over in Australia, Wes? Giant Australia, I'm not familiar with that. Like a continental team?
Not that I'm aware of, unless he's a Giant ambassador in Australia. I'll have to come back on that. So if Johnson or someone who knows Johnson is in the chat, if you can update us on that, whether it's maybe the mountain bike team. I know there's a mountain bike team for Giant Australia, but yeah, if anyone can update us on that, that would be good to know. But Johnson has featured probably about 2 or 3 of these e-crits now or more. So good to see him up in there as well. And Robert's up the front here again, getting rid of that drafting boost. Does not want that for the final at all.
No, the drafting boost is definitely not one. I had to use one yesterday in a sprint and was like, game over. Like immediately it was just over. The arrow power up is so incredibly strong. There are power ups in games in the game for those of you who might be unfamiliar with that. The arrow power up, most likely the strongest, definitely the strongest on this course. It does reduce the drag on your avatar for up to for 30 seconds straight. So most of these riders will be looking to pick up an arrow power up before the finish. But if they are in a spot of bother, unable to hang on to the peloton, a lot of time in a last ditch effort, they will use up their power up or their arrow power up even in order to hang on to the pack. Pandora, yes, the A's are quote-unquote pros or top-level riders. The expectation in an A category race is that you can hold 4.0 watts per kilogram or higher for your FTP. Your functional threshold power is what you can hold for 1 hour straight. And so if you can hold 4.0 watts per kilogram or higher for 1 hour straight, there are tests you can do in order to find your FTP. Your FTP is kind of like where your fitness is at, right? So 4.0 or higher is A's, 3.2 or high or to 4.0 is B category, 2.5 to 3.2 is C category, and D category is 2.45 or lower. So there's racing for everybody out there. 2.5 watts per kilogram for the D range. That would be if you went out and did a test and you were able to do, whatever, let's say it's 300 watts or whatever it is, and you divided that by your weight in kilograms, and then you would find out what your FTP is in a ratio, a watt per kilogram ratio, and that's what this number is actually on the right hand side of the course. 2.7, 4.1, 4.0. These riders at the front, that's what they're currently holding for their watts per kilogram. That's why there's a W/kg next to their name. Micro, what's going on there? Good to see you, Maestro. Good, thanks a lot. And Kim, thank you for the explanations there over at the Mixer channel. All right, up in the front, back in the racing though. If you have any more questions, we'd love to answer them as we go through the race out here. Woodward up to the front, still a large group. Classic kit racing, Kiss crit racing here as we get through. But it does look like there were a few dropped off. It has whittled down a little bit here. Zawadzki here at the back. I think a few have dropped off from the pack here. I'm going to take a look over at zwiftpower.com and get an update, but it does look like the pace picked up enough that I think one or two were unable to hang on, or they were dropped off actually, I think, as they lapped a few riders. We're seeing Conway as well as Roy here. I think that there was maybe a little bit of objects in the way there, and they weren't able to get by. And now an attack on the front, though, actually, as they came out of the volcano, we are seeing, it looks like Woodward as well as Davis here. He's been instigating ever since we hit about this halfway point. And is this, I'm not sure Davis is a familiar face to this racing because, you know, it's a late race for him coming out of California.
Yeah, it is a late race. No, I haven't seen Davis feature in any of the e-crits to my knowledge. So, yeah, he's certainly making a race of it as well and getting a solid workout with these spikes. He keeps sort of pushing the pace up, maybe looking for someone to go with him on the attack, but not initiating the move to go any further than sort of spiking the pace of the pello. Yeah,
and it didn't really get anything to go anywhere. It did look like a gap might have been forming that might have been able to work with. It did put WS here in a little bit of bother, but right back on there. Again, a very difficult time to get away with an attack with that downhill. A lot of times the pack just brings it right on back. I do notice that attacks, if they are going to succeed, they usually are on this two-tier. You go over the top of the two-tier, but it's all about the continuance over the top through. You get through the start-finish banner or the lap banner, and on the other side of there, it flattens out and then it goes down just a little bit, but not enough that they gain enough speed to bring it back if you are able to continue through. But to hold that kind of power all the way through, a lot of times riders do want to rest when they come up over the top of the climb. There's all that moment of take a breath. And that is the moment that you just keep on going rather than taking that reprieve after the climb. You know, the force stops pushing back in the pedals on the climb. And a lot of times riders get this almost natural instinct, Wes, I think, to just stop pushing, to stop pushing as hard because the force has stopped. The force has stopped.
You start to ease up on the pedals. May the force be with these riders. But it looks like Van was also back in there as well. So not sure if he closed that gap or if Van's a lap down as well, Nathan.
No, it looks like he actually was able to bring that back. That is amazing effort. He was 10 seconds off the back. It did calm down a little bit, but now he's attacking again. Absolutely demolishing these pedals. Now to zero again, though. I think he's getting dropouts anytime that he goes too hard. His trainer's saying, I've had enough. Ollie Jones now going to 0 watts per kilogram for a moment there, but I think that was just for a little bit of reprieve as he was chasing things down. Another aero power-up, though, coming from WDS. Maybe not looking for a sprint. That might have something to do with it here, actually. Not looking for a sprint and trying to get away. That would be kind of the reason you'd want to use an aero power-up at this point. If you know the other riders put out a ton of effort, get away a little bit. If they're on that rivet, you might be able to hold on with just a steady effort off the front. But this is going to be a long day for a TT off the front here for 3 laps to go still.
Certainly is, and looks like it's my Japanese representative racing out there, WS. Good initials, those ones. So I think that he's going to have a very tough job, though, holding off this peloton. I mean, we're still, we're only, 16? Oh, we're in miles as well, so I'm not sure of the kilometres. Nathan has got it set to miles just to try and throw me off.
Just to throw you boys off. You know, we need you back. I need to be able to just push you. And then we're good to go. Yeah. We're good to go on the settings. We can take a quick look here at Tim Searle's actually letting us know that Brendan Johnson actually rides for Giant Oz, mountain bike team. So that's good to know. That's super helpful, actually. Cool. So we can actually really quickly here for you bring a couple more of these. And Van had a dropout too, 15 seconds back. We're seeing that there. Hey Wes, coming from Jonathan Bates, asking if there's any information from the West Coast Series. Interesting question there. Is there a West Coast Series going on there, Wes?
Last year we had an East and West series, so we had one starting an hour later, and at this stage we're still working out what's happening with the series and the official start times and the timing of the whole event. So yeah, we'd like to give some insight on that next week, so have a look on Zwift Oz page for updates on that, and we'll let the community know. I'd like to let them know by the end of this week, but most likely next week.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Wes. Appreciate that. So Johnson here now, it looks like toward the front. We are back in kilometers just for Wes. We were able to swap that up without too much ado on the broadcast here. But WP Taz calming it down a little bit. He looks like Johnson hasn't taken any flyers in the last couple of laps. I think he's realized they weren't going to stick at this point. I wonder if he's going to take another before it gets too late, and for that sprint to just eat up any kind of attack he would make.
I'd definitely guess that, Nathan. I reckon it's eating him up actually sitting in this bunch right now. He probably wants to attack. He wants to attack, but he's just like sort of like, no, if I actually like play it cool here for a bit and really go all out, then I might have a chance of trying to stay away with maybe a couple other riders. And obviously those other strong riders, like if he got away with Ollie and Cameron, which are two teammates as well. Obviously, that's going to be difficult for him with the 1-2 with that. But if those three went away, I don't think we'd see this bunch bring them back.
Especially
obviously
this
not
late.
Not much of a bunch left, really, to be honest, as well. And I guess Ollie and Cameron have the only two in there really with teammates. I think everyone else would probably be individual in this group too.
Looking through, Davis is solo. I'm seeing mostly unattached riders, so it's going to be Ollie Jones and Roberts up against the rest of the pack here. Is there another WB Taz in the group here besides Johnson? I'm only seeing him hanging out here, so it looks like mainly riders riding unattached or for themselves on the day. I'm looking through some of the results in the past couple of weeks, actually, here. And Kiss Australia Crit, we're seeing Cameron Roberts took the W back on June 5th, actually. He also won the chop race last week, it looks like, in the A category. So a solid result for him. Now, did the A category catch the rest of the group last week, I wonder? I wonder if the results actually count that in there. But we are seeing an attack here. See Roberts here now off the front, who we were just speaking about, who is pulling a solid 88 watts per kilogram, 29K in so far. Johnson trying to close that down, coming from the Giant Australia team here. Hodgson here now, 7.7 watts per kilogram, maybe looking to close that down. This is 3 seconds off the front. Are we going to see another kick? They're going to have to, because this group is going to charge like a freight train in just a moment here.
Yeah, we did get confirmation that it was the Giant Australian mountain bike team as well. So he's an ambassador for Giant, as well as racing for the Giant Australian mountain bike team.
So looking here, Ollie Jones closes it down. WP Taz. Now Johnson, look at this.
Oh,
arrow power up from Johnson.
Arrow.
You were right. You were right, Wes. He was not going to be sitting in, it looks like. 5.5 watts per kilogram. Yeah. Arrow power up thrown down. Johnson here now being chased down by the other Johnson here. 5.0 watts per kilogram. Jones now sitting in a little bit. But they are going to catch a group of riders that are being lapped. And that might cause some riders to lose sight of where Zach is at, and they're going to have to kick and go straight through this, because it's going to be gone before they know it. They have to not get any sticky bugs, because that's what, not sticky bug, but there's a drafting, not bug, but where you can like get a sticky draft and sit in on the draft and not be able to get by riders. And if that happens through here, Zach is going to get the benefit from it, but it looks like WS was able to close that down pretty quickly. A few riders might find themselves off the back, though. We are seeing Bob McLew from Innovation saying, "Too strong for me, guys. Ride on." So one Innovation rider now biting the dust off the back. GG to him. Cridlin here trying to get through that. We just said that these riders might struggle as they do hit these lap drivers. Wu here as well has gotten that sticky draft and is now stuck amongst the riders here, maybe thinking that they're all together, though nobody's going, and there's actually a few riders from some of the other categories getting a free ride as they make their way through here. Johnson now 6.2 watts per kilogram on the front, trying to break things apart a little bit. 171 beats per minute. He does. Let's take a look and see what he maxes out at, because I want to know how many beats per minute he's got left to work with here, because this guy just keeps going on the front. But again, no, he has not registered, actually, so we'll have to double check back once he has registered over there. But Ollie Jones,
we'll have to get We'll have to get Nadsy onto that because Nadsy's the team captain of Wolfpack Taz. I'm supposedly meant to be the manager of Wolfpack Taz, so I'll make sure that's followed up and Zach opts in and we'll walk him through that. So also Tim Searle saying that Zach is riding like an absolute beast tonight. So I'm glad that Tim's enjoying the stream as well and watching these races. Thrash it out. And also Aaron Dunn cheering on his teammate in the WG Taz as well, saying, "Come on, Zach."
I actually saw Aaron Dunn on earlier today, going for a ride about 4 hours ago or so. I was wondering if he was just getting a warm up before the ride here, but we were going back and forth a little bit. I don't know if he noticed me, but I gave him a ride on, I believe, out on course. But good to see you in the broadcast. Aaron Dunn, last year's winner of the Crit Series final, actually. But now it's Zach Johnson again, after a little bit of encouragement coming from Tim Searle and Wendy Mae Abbott there, the super fan. He gives another show up in that 7 watts per kilogram off the front, 6.0. Can he hold on to it here? 32K in or so. And they're going to have about 2 laps to go, I believe. Hodgson here now 3 seconds back, trying to make the chase. Actually, lets up the 3-3. 46K an hour now, 47 from Johnson. It's all about speed, though. It's not just about power, right? So since it's all about speed, 47. And then we're seeing 52 here. Will they get it up to 52 here at this point? Yes, they do. And they start closing it down here. Johnson here, 4 seconds off the front still 5.2 watts per kilogram. We're seeing 2.7 here from the front of the pack. But speed now comes right on through and speeds them all right on up.
Have you done that yourself? So when you're coming out of like that situation there, like Zach was in there, about to go down that hill, would you do a little bit of a sprint to gain your pace a little bit out of that top part of that corner when it went down?
Yeah, usually that's what I do. Yeah, that's usually what I do, but I'm not even sure that it helps. I just do it. I'm not even sure that it actually. I think about it each time.
You're like, I did that and I'm good. Yeah, I know that helps.
I think about it each time, and I'm like, this is how I gain, right? This is how I gain speed because it's about speed on this point. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And usually I think it does help. I haven't like I'm pretty scientific when I try and like make any like suggestions or coaching on any of this with Zwift, and I don't want anybody to come back and be like, well, actually, I've looked at all the numbers, and you know what I mean? Everybody, they always got that guy. And so like, and they're probably right. They're probably totally right. That guy's always right. And so I don't want to be like trying to go up against that guy who's like, well, actually, when you sprint like that, it doesn't do anything. So, but I think it actually, I do think it does help out a little bit. I always do it because I think it's about building the speed and taking it into the downhill and holding it. Well, it's something about the virtual world too.
You know, when you do this exact same thing in a time trial, like all of the coaches and that would always say, like, you know, when you're coming up to the crest of a hill, and then if you've got some left, then go out of the saddle and really wind up your speed. And the same thing is when you're about to go down that downhill part. You know, you've wound up, and you don't really feel the downhill let up as much on the trainer. So when it does let up, that's when you got to snap back on top of it and see if you can wind up the speed a little bit. That's how I feel anyway, and that's what I try and do when I've raced on Zwift. So sharing our secrets, but they may hinder you. I don't know. Try them out for yourself.
Try them out. Let us know. Be that guy. Get the numbers for us and bring them back. We'll have you featured on the broadcast just for it. All right, Johnson here now going off the front. We're seeing S. Johnson now giving another little kick with an arrow pump, and this is the last lap right now, Aaron Dunn. Yes, Dunn's actually in here asking if this last lap, 8 watts per kilogram. I have a feeling we're going to see up in the 7 or so for quite a while from this rider, trying to get the biggest gap he possibly can, because if he does not make this stick, he's going to get eaten up and taken right to the back of the pack most likely for the sprint. This is an all-in effort. 188 beats per minute coming from S. Johnson right now. Is this a familiar rider to you? I haven't seen this rider before in these races, riding in this blue, light blue kit actually.
Yes, actually joined the eCrit series last year as well, and I kept getting him confused with Shannon Johnson. Was calling him out as a very good Australian sprinter. But Johnson said he's not much of a sprinter, but obviously he's got some power there as well. So he's going to try this attack here, and I think the Pello are probably going to reel him back in, but he's giving it all here at 390 watts with 182 heart rate. He's not going to go down without a fight, that's for sure. So great job by Johnson here, and good to see that he's joined in this year as well for the his crits.
Yeah, this looks like it may be his first race actually in the series, at least from what I'm seeing here. I'm not seeing any races. The only race I'm seeing him recently doing 3 days ago, he did do the WBR 50 kilometer 4-lap race. Got a second place in that with a solid 4.0 watts per kilogram. So according to Zwift Power. Now I'm not sure if Zwift Power has all the data from all the races past. So maybe it's not incorrect. But from what I'm seeing here, that is his most recent race.
Unless it's a different S. Johnson as well.
Shane Johnson on the front there. We got live results actually, so it shows them at the very top when they're off the front.
It is Shane.
It updates live. Yeah, it is Shane Johnson. This is Shane Johnson.
Okay,
ex-pro triathlete actually. 7th World Duathlon Champs and 26th at World Triathlon Champs in 1992 actually. So this guy can hammer, that's for sure. He's done, it looks like 169 races actually out on Zwift. So definitely has a solid threshold being an ex-pro triathlete, but no sprint, and it looks like the pack was able to eat him up here. Now W Van is going off the front here. Zach Johnson is actually the one who instigated that 6.8 watts per kilogram. Van now 9.1, pulling everybody right back in. It looks like Jones here sitting in 4.0 and waiting for the moment to pounce perhaps, and just being dragged right on. Where's Cam Roberts though? That is the question. His teammate.
That was my question there as well. And we see M Pepper as well has been up and amongst it, and good to see M Pepper hanging with this bunch here because there's some pace on. Cameron looks like he's towards the back there, sort of just boxing things out. So maybe just confident there with Ollie up the front and just sort of sourcing things from the back. But I think we'll see a bit of a shake and bake from those two towards the end of this.
Yeah, they've been sitting in for a while. I think there's been some communication going on for sure, because they always seem to send one up the chase and one sits in. One up the chase, one sits in. It's been pretty smart, but we are getting into the last 500 meters here. Alan Jones now sitting in 3.1 watts per kilogram. Van always got the power here, 11 watts per kilogram. We'll see if they just let him go or not, but it's now going to be Pitt sitting at the front, keeping pace. 3.0 watts per kilogram. Looks like all the riders are allowing Van just to get away here. So Zawadzki here now, another Vision rider. Didn't realize he was in there, and so there are 3 up for Vision here. Who's going to be the lead out man? That's going to be the question. Now here goes Johnson. It is Shane Johnson again, I believe, on the front. Davis here, Team Experimental is there. We are seeing Zach Johnson now trying to make his way to the front, 5.5 watts per kilogram. And now Van still off the front, 10 watts per kilogram. Here comes Stenning now with the first feather power up. Johnson now is throwing, it looks like, able to hang on all the feather power-ups, the early power-ups here just to hang on, but we're waiting for that moment of the arrow power-ups. They usually throw them down right about at this moment as they hit the flatter parts, and they got about 30 seconds to go. T. Hodgson, here comes the first arrow power-up, though. It looks like it is going to be a Vision rider. It is Zawadzki here from Vision throwing it down, but Cridlin's way up there on the front. Did he go too early is going to be the question, though. Is it too far from the line? Ollie Jones! 11 watts per kilogram coming from Ollie Jones. It looks like he might be able to take this down. 12 watts per kilogram, hold on to it solid. It's Vision v Vision at this point. Ollie, Jones, Zawadzki coming at the last moment. Did he get it? I'm not even sure. It's right there. It was right there. I'm not positive he got it. Oh my gosh, so what an effort. What an effort from these guys. I'm not sure that they was able to pull it off there. And it's, we were not on the record. I did not get the replay for you guys, but
Linton was actually a finalist in the E-Crit last year, actually. So Linton was quite a fast finisher, and as we saw, that was on the line. Now I couldn't pick that. That was too close.
It was not even a tire length. It looked like it wasn't even a tire length. Right there to the line, absolutely killing it. We can definitely double check though over at ZwiftPower.com. We'll have to wait and see what the results say. It looks like Linton, according to the preliminary results, Linton nipped it, and there's no difference. There's no difference in seconds. Like I'm seeing there, it's on the same second from what I'm seeing right now. We'll wait for the results to filter in. It does take about the 30 minutes for them to filter in, but from the live result, it showed Linton coming across in first.
Wow, that's a solid finish there. Oh, to have Linton also feature because Ollie Jones, even though he didn't race the E-Crit final, he actually finished second in the series because it was only open to Australians. So Ollie did come across and come across the live final as a guest and actually met Linton in person as well. So obviously on the same team now as well, so they know each other well. But that was certainly a race to the line, and I'm still, even though we'll have to wait for the official results, I still don't know whether you could pick that. I think they had to award someone, and it looks like Linton's got it. But we'll wait for the official results from Swift Power.
Yeah, it was too bad. I usually have the replay on, and Nathan forgot to push the button because we were doing so many things beforehand. Usually we can go back and do the slow-mo, and I went back and was like, the record button wasn't on. Come on, Nathan.
I'll take it. I'll take it, mate, because I was trying to get you put it back in K's and Kelly's career. It was my fault.
No. So, but what we do have, I think I can create a highlight over at Twitch, and we might be able to bring that in a little bit here, as clips aren't ready just yet over on Mixer on all the channels just yet. But looking through here, let's see if we do get these results populated. Let's go through the live results here real quickly, though, for the rest of the riders. As these are preliminary still, but we will be able to take a quick little peek at what went down. So it was Lyndon Zawoski, followed by Ollie Jones, then WGK coming out of Japan, actually. Solid result for the Japanese rider here, able to take that third place down. In this case, I'll show you there. Cameron Roberts actually with the fourth place. Maybe a little bit of a surprising result for him, usually able to take it down, but maybe that was the plan. I mean, look at that. That's Linton, Ollie, and Roberts all in the top four, and the Japanese rider WGK was able to just kind of slide in there between them all. So they definitely had a plan up their sleeves to attack at exactly the same time, it looked like, and it was just a drag race between them to the line.
And Cridlin, where did Cridlin finish? Because Cridlin went out early in front there.
He went out super early and actually ended up like fading pretty far back there. Actually, now here's the thing. That might not be everybody according to their own screens, right? So Davis ended up 5th, Brendan Johnston for 6th, Ollie Stenning for 7th, and Pepper for 8th, Patrick McRae for 9th, and Martin Pitt for 10th. But that goes all the way back to like 4 seconds. So the top 5 or so are all within 1 second of each other. But I think there were a lot more than that within 1 second of each other. But the opt-in is keeping a few riders out of the live results. So you guys, we're going to be using these from now on, right? Zwiftpower.com is kind of the main go-to place. And it is actually what was used for most of for the KISS Racing last year for the results for the series. So make sure to opt in so that we can see your results after the races, as you know, and you can see them after the races if you do opt in for Zwiftpower.com. So great racing out there, Wes. Next up, we're going to be having the chop race on Thursday for the Australian market.
The chop at 7 o'clock, 7:10 Australian Eastern Standard Time of the evening. So yeah, make sure you join in for that one. And if you're not racing, then yeah, join to the stream. Otherwise, there'll be obviously the grades there on offer as well, with D grade, C grade, B grade, and A grade. If you want to try your luck with the likes of the guys that were racing tonight with Linton, and maybe even Ollie Jones and Cameron Roberts.
Yeah, and we are seeing a couple of comments here. James Hodges actually helps runs with Power.com, and he actually said that the live results are the same as the final now, just without DQs applied. That's cool. It used to be we had to wait, and so now I think with some of the updated with the APIs, and he said indeed it was 0.0 seconds. So literally the difference at the front between Zawodzki and Jones was less than a hundredth of a second. Whatever it wasn't showing beyond that last zero right there. That was a close race. That was insanely close.
Was that just on the maybe the actual, because you still put your height and weight in the games, and then that would change your bike size. So was that Ollie had a shorter stem than maybe Linton? Linton had
just
a longer stem on his bike.
It was just the stem. It was just the Tron wheels. The Tron, Zawodzki had Tron wheels on, and Ollie didn't. Yeah. So his wheels were glowing just a little further out in front of him. And he was able to actually, I mean, if you take a look at this Tron bike, these wheels actually seem to, I mean, they seem to give you just a little bit of an edge here on the rest of the on the rest of the riders,
Yeah, but
just a little bit.
there you go. You've heard the tip first from Nathan. So try it out for yourself. Again, we won't hinder anyone, but do try these things out for yourself. But it looks like Linton has come up with the goods. But 1-2 for Team Vision, so I'm sure they'll be both happy and about that one. So
a couple other things I just wanted to throw out there. I'll let Wes get going though. Wes, thanks so much. Great broadcast.
No worries.
And make sure to everybody join Wes and maybe myself. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there for the chop on Thursday. We haven't confirmed who the commentators are going to be for Thursday, but I might be back. And Wes, cheers. Thanks a lot.
We'll take you back.
All right, sounds good.
No worries, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
see you, Nate.
Cheers.
Bye.
So that was KISS Racing Australia Crit. A couple of announcements real quick just for everybody before we go, though. I wanted to tell you guys about a few things that are happening on ZCL. We do have the Dig Deep coaching that's going on every day throughout the entirety of the Tour de France. We will be doing a ride that replicates the winning effort for a stage on the Tour de France. So there's a little assumptions that are made about it, that the ride is like yesterday was a TT effort, obviously. So the winning effort in a TT. The day before was a flat stage, but you were in the breakaway was the idea for the workout. The day before that, you were the sprinter, and we were working on sprinter stuff. So the whole thing is actually, the data has actually been analyzed by Dig Deep Coaching in order to create workouts for each one of the stages of the tour. They were analyzing pro riders' data from past tours as well as this tour. We are getting live information as well as post information from pro riders for what they did on that day and comparing it to what you're doing during your workout in the Dig Deep coaching. So also something pretty cool to be checking out. Coming up tomorrow then, or actually later today, we'll be doing that. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, the weekly wind-up, as well as more Dig Deep coaching. Every day we're going to be live now with Dig Deep coaching, Tour de France, Grand Tour, virtual tour out on Zwift in conjunction with the Tour de France. So make sure to check that out. We'll see you guys for that over the rest of the week, as well as the chop on Thursday. If you haven't done so already at all the places, make sure to hit that follow button on the Mixer, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook for your favorite viewing area on Zwift Community Live. Thanks everybody for tuning in at all of the places. And as always, great job to all the racers. Solid race out there. And right on.